Hey everyone, I'm Ryan Shuken, host of the China Startup Pulse, angel investor in China and huge supporter of Mobio. I'm sitting here with Bechara, Saab, CEO and chief scientist of Mobio, and we're here to discuss your new product and what's going on with your awesome tech.
Thanks. Happy to be here, Ryan. Thank you very much.
Cheers. So tell me more about Mobio, and I know as much that it's digital therapeutics, which sounds awesome, but please elaborate.
Yeah, so the company builds software in order to prevent and treat disease and to enhance human performance. And we do that essentially by leveraging the latest research in neuroscience. I'm a trained neuroscientist and former principal investigator from the Zurich Psychiatric Hospital, and have a long history in understanding neuroscience. And we take what we understand about neuroscience and we use that to build tools that are easy for people to use and are very effective in enhancing their life, whether that's helping them deal with a disease, whether that's helping them build resilience, whether that's helping them be more creative or increase their focus, their athletic performance, whatever it is. We really take the research and then we package it to them in a digital means. And before we give them that product, we test it scientifically to be sure that it works. So we're not just taking ideas and saying, okay, this should probably be okay. We take the time and we spend the money to actually do randomized controlled trials to ensure that what we provide for people really works. And that's pretty unique in this space, actually.
Okay, I see. So then what are some of the new things that are coming out in the new version of your app right now, and how are people going to be experiencing that?
One of the most incredible things about the app that we're releasing right now called Om Mindfulness, AM, and then the space, and then the word mindfulness, available in the app stores, of course, is the ability for it to personalize to the user, to the individual who's using it, and to personalize in an objective way. What we've developed is some technology that allows us to predict somebody's stress level through a 30-second selfie video. This is technology that we've been developing over a few years in conjunction with the University of Waterloo, which is like the MIT of Canada, if you haven't heard of it. And we were able to train this neural network in order to get very accurate predictions of somebody's stress from a 30-second selfie video, because we have access to a very special database that isn't really available anywhere else. And to describe this database, it's really a high quality set of video selfies that are done in tandem with a self-assessment of stress, where the person who is assessing their stress is motivated to really find an accurate assessment of their stress, and two, they're actually good at it, right? So they're able to figure it out. And the way that we were able to achieve this database is by releasing a mindfulness app out in the market as we were doing research trials, in which people were self-assessing their stress before and after.
Yes, I remember that.
Practicing meditation. Yeah. So this database is really quite special, really quite unique, and it's enabled us to train a neural network that can understand somebody's stress level just from a cell phone video.
Man, I personally need that very bad, because I know my level of stress, but I need someone to help tell me that I need to sit down or rest, or I need to do some mindfulness as part of my daily routine, because it's hard to keep tabs on your own body, on what's happening. And so this is where digital therapeutics really impresses me, because you're able to look at these, correct me if I'm wrong, these are micro expressions that are happening in your face that are relating this information, or is it?
That is actually wrong, yeah. So
yeah, please help me out.
We can probably get information from micro expressions, particularly the musculature around the eyes.
Yeah.
How you structure the muscles around your eyes tell you a lot about the emotions, right? Think of surprise and fear, and right, it's all in the eyes. Anger, all that. You can really see that in the eyes. However, what we're doing is actually using the same technology that's in a Fitbit or in an Apple Watch. And we use something called PPGI, photoplethysmographic imaging, which is extracting somebody's heart rate. And in our case, what we do is we identify the face, and then we find regions on the face that have relatively uniform color. and we track color change within those regions. And as your heart beats, your vessels will dilate and contract, and that actually changes the color of your skin very subtly, but
Wow.
it changes the color of your skin, and we can pick that up. We have an algorithm that we developed at the University of Waterloo to then get out your heart rate. We break that heart rate down into its heart rate variability, and we look at two different frequency components, high and low, and we feed that information into the neural network, and it spits out an assessment of stress with 86% accuracy.
Man, this is so much more fascinating than I thought it was. That is amazing.
Yeah, and then what we do is we then measure the effectiveness. We use this for those people who use the app and they actually do the selfie videos before and after. We use that in order to understand what meditations, in an objective sense, have been most effective for them, and then we curate selections of meditations for them, and eventually the app will actually build a whole program for an individual so that they've got something which really works for them.
So what ideal scenario should this be used in? For what type of individual or group or setting? Where do you see this making strides?
So we started with with material that was based on mindfulness-based stress reduction, and this is really a way to build up your resilience. And that's important for a variety of different things, right? It helps you respond to situations in a more cognitive way. You make better decisions in times of crisis. It can help you deal with disease. It can reduce stress-related disorders, and there's a lot of those. Prevent burnout. But we also have material in order to help people build their focus or to enhance their compassion, and to really help with their relationships, to help people lead better. Right. I mean, to be an effective leader, you need to be somebody who's very stable. Right. People are attracted to those stable individuals in society, and they say that's an anchor point. I can follow that. And we're really able to train people in that. And where we've done our scientific research, is particularly within resilience. We've published already a randomized controlled trial where we showed a 10% boost in stress resilience after using the app for 3 weeks.
Nice.
And we've also done a study with athletes where we saw that physical endurance is increased from using the app, probably as a result of increasing their focus. And also the relationship to strenuous activity was affected. So people felt a lot better than they would otherwise after they had learned the elements of mindfulness meditation through our app.
Okay, so what makes this different than other mindfulness or meditation categorized apps out there? Because what is the defining factor that keeps you guys true to what you guys do and ahead?
Well, optimizing the app for efficacy, right, for its effectiveness instead of for retention or revenue is I think one thing that we really do well, right? We will not compromise on whether or not the app works for people. That's paramount. But the other thing is that in our randomized controlled trial, we studied the effects of the app after just 3 weeks, which is very short for a mindfulness course. Typically, it's done 8 weeks to 12 weeks. And, actually, I didn't think it was going to work at first. And it was a bit of a debate as to how long we would do it. And I argued against 3 weeks, and I lost that debate. And in the end, the results actually showed that we had effects. And so that was very exciting. Whereas other apps that have tried to do randomized controlled trials against an active control, right, against a placebo, have failed. Have largely failed. And the question is, okay, well, why does our app outperform placebo while everything else is basically just doing the same as placebo, right? Because there's a big placebo effect in these randomized controlled trials. You get like attention from individuals, and you sort of concentrate on who you are, and so there's a big component and a big bit to placebo in these things. But we beat placebo. So how did we beat placebo? My hypothesis is that we put so much effort on the introspection and the self-assessment of how people are before and after each meditation. And this forms a synergy with the meditation itself. And so the fact that we we ask people to spend so much time, like 2 minutes. But 2 minutes is a lot of time in the busy world.
Mm-hmm.
You spend 2 minutes on average, maybe you can get away with 45 seconds, really thinking about how you're feeling. What are the words that are associated with my mood?
Mm-hmm.
Where do I sit on the stress scale between none and extreme?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm going to sit patiently and still for 30 seconds while this app scans me. And I might even write in some notes that I can reflect on later and read about before and after this meditation. Having that introspection combined with a mindfulness meditation, in my opinion, is probably core to why our product is so much more effective than what everything else that is out there, online or offline. But we have to test that scientifically. But that's my hypothesis. That's why I think it's so effective. I mean, it's really incredible.
Yeah, I love it because it's I always feel like there's studies out there that could do good, but nothing ever comes of it. We find something, we find some asset to better work or better family life, or some study proves something amazing, and then that's just now a trivia question. So what I feel like you and your team, what you're so dedicated is turning this really important life-changing research into something that can be accessible for so many people, easily accessible. The science, the technology, the work that you put into your current studies that you continue to do with every single point that you release, that's something that had me sold.
Yeah. It's it takes a big effort. I quit my job, my job in research in order to pursue this because I wanted to translate this stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing in my professional career that ever gave me more meaning than scientific discovery itself. And scientific discovery is a crazy high when you realize that you have brought something, into human knowledge, right? You are the first person to take this information and then make it part of the consciousness of humanity, of life itself. I mean, that is really, really powerful. And yet when I saw that this app was really increasing people's stress resilience, and when people started writing into us and telling us, this app really helps me sleep at night. This app really reduces my anxiety. Or in one case, this app is the reason why my son still has a mother. This type of really powerful feedback was even more meaningful, and I had to pursue it.
Yeah.
And so I took the plunge, and I've never regretted it. It's really fantastic. I'm super happy with the products that we make. I'm proud of the fact that we know that they work.
Yeah.
And
I like how you guys back it up with so much science and confidence in that area, because it really helps walk the line between individuals that they're slower adopters. They might not really believe in the whole mindfulness or meditation idea of improving yourself, but you're backing it up with so much thought and consideration as you implement these discoveries that people can say, okay, well, this one is it speaks to a whole group, a whole new group, and it provides data because you're collecting so much hard evidence on what you're doing and how you're helping people. And so this is another thing that I want to talk about. How are you using, who's partnering with you? How are you guys growing right now?
Well, first I'll mention something about the data that we collect. We collect the data, obviously, that people input themselves and that we collect through the video. Obviously, it's all
all
anonymous,
protected and everything.
It's protected, GDPR compliant, et cetera. It's that's really important for us. We do partner with pharmaceutical companies. We partner with health insurers. So it's really, really critical we get this right. But even without those partnerships, it's important to us that the data of the people that are using the app is extremely secure.
Absolutely,
it's as secure as Facebook or Google or anything that you could ever find. Maybe even more secure than some of those things because we're smaller and we're less of a target, and there's fewer possibilities for holes. But the first thing that we do is we take this information for the individual and we personalize the product for them. But then in aggregate, we actually adapt the product to what is effective. So one thing that we noticed quite early on is that we see a continual benefit to longer meditations. Right? So you don't really see much effect for short meditations. I know there's a few meditation apps out there that specialize in these quick little meditation bites. From our research, it's not really that effective. It might help you relax in the short term, but you're not going to be building up, like changes to your brain structure that allow you to perform better or have resilience. And I mean, that's we've found that you really need some longer meditations. And so that has driven how we actually create the content that goes into the app. And in addition, how we train people. So we slowly build people up from smaller to longer meditations. And that tends to be really effective. But then after about 22 minutes, we don't really see any increases in the efficacy anymore.
Okay.
At least not in the aggregate. So we know that, while a lot of people want to do much longer meditations, 45 minutes, an hour, 90 minutes, some people meditate all day, we don't have the evidence, inside of our data set that suggests that gives a much more benefit.
Understood.
Right? So we've really able to find that sweet spot and deliver what's really effective for individuals. In terms of growing the business, we want to be able to reach people as quickly as possible. And as we build our digital therapeutics, we're focusing first on cancer. People who are diagnosed with cancer have a real increased risk of developing mental illness. The comorbidity of mental illness and cancer is extreme. It's a huge cost, and it really is a detriment to those who get the disease. I mean, not only do I have a tumor, but now I'm depressed. That's extremely unfortunate, and it doesn't help the disease as well. So we've actually started a randomized controlled trial with Dr. Linda Carlson, who is a world expert on using mindfulness in cancer patients. And we have some content inside of Om right now that people with cancer can utilize in order to help them reintegrate into their lives after they've dealt with the therapy and then they've survived. This is a mindfulness-based cancer survivorship program that we provide. And we're doing research to really understand, what is the effectiveness in this, and then we'll continue to develop it to make sure that it's as effective as possible. But in order to get that to people as quickly as we can, we would actually like to partner with pharmaceutical companies. Pharmaceutical companies have a bad rap in general, right? And in some ways it's very justified. However, they do have the ability to reach people in a rapid way. They understand the regulatory systems. They have relationships with hospitals and clinicians. And so if we can partner our app with a pharmaceutical product that targets a particular cancer, particularly prostate and breast cancer, because they're often treated with hormone therapy, which is an added problem for developing mental illness comorbidities, because hormone therapy interferes with your brain and can make you feel worse. And so if we can partner our app with a drug and get it to individuals before they start taking that drug, before they even start their treatment, this has a huge possibility to increase the well-being of that individual and also increase the chance that the drug will work. So we can use a digital means, which on its own has a very low risk of any undesirable side effects, to really reduce the side effects of a small molecule, of the pharmaceutical, and increase the outcome for the patient. And do so in a fairly rapid way because we're partnering with the people that have the expertise in getting it out there.
Every % increase really matters. I mean, that's people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so that's one of the ways that we're expanding into the future, is the adjunct therapies. And it's extremely exciting space. It's uncharted territories. Nobody knows if this can result in new patents, but the potential is there. And there's a massive potential to reach people through software in ways that you could never do with normal drugs.
Well, I know that you guys are growing. I know that you guys are trying a lot of new stuff and letting the science be your guide. I really appreciate that. How do people right now either access or find out more or contact you if you're interested about learning more, or just try out the app right away right now? So what are all the means in which someone could find out more and make that jump?
Well, of course, it's available in the app stores. So you just search for Om space mindfulness, Om and mindfulness. You can also search in the App Store Mobile Interactive, and you'll come across the app that way. You can download it. It has a 3-week free trial where you have unlimited access to everything. And then it has an infinite free access to the core content. So that training for resilience, which is what we really entered the market with, that is always free. It's always free. So we're committed to giving people for free the essential elements of what they need to establish mindfulness in their lives, and that's that's a great way to get there. You can go to the website. I think maybe we can even give a discount to the listeners of this podcast, and so we can provide a link for that and a place where people can go to get a discount, and we love feedback. So you just write us at am@mobiointeractive.com. That's am@mobiointeractive.com, and we'd really love to hear your feedback. We use this feedback in developing the product, and we're grateful to everybody that gives it a shot and everybody that's involved, and we're really continuing to build it out into really the best product that exists in this space, online, offline, and I'm committed to that.
All right, thanks. Thanks for your time, Bechara.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, this is great to learn about what you guys are doing with and Movio. Thanks. Cheers.
Ciao.